survivor because my parents, Alexander Bandler and Margaret Vanoshy Bandler, displayed courage in response to the world events that occurred during my childhood. Their picture is on the table over there. My parents were courageous when forced to leave their beautiful resort hotel in Italy, which they owned for 25 years on the Adriatic Sea, when Mussolini declared that all Jews not born in Italy had to leave the country. They were courageous when they put their possessions in storage and left with their 2 little girls and only what they could carry, and then returned to Hungary, the country of their birth. They courageously filled out applications to 17 countries, seeking refuge for their family, begged their hotel guests who had positions of importance to vouch for us to their governments. Even as they received rejection after rejection after rejection, these letters we received were all the same. We're very sorry for your predicament. We're awfully sorry. We wish you good luck. We had nowhere to go because no one would take us in. It took courage to head out across Europe with their young daughters, my sister and I, in tow, while their own family members were too afraid to leave Hungary with them. It took courage to go from country to country until finally arriving in Lisbon and boarding a ship headed to the USA, knowing that we could never enter at Ellis Island. There we were kept just a place where refugees were processed before we were shipped onward to the only country that was willing to take a few hundred Jews, the Dominican Republic. Entry to the Dominican Republic was based on a qualification, being young and having agricultural experience. So it took courage for my father to say gallantly, "Of course I have agricultural experience. I owned a hotel for 25 years, and we served gourmet food there." In reality, my father probably had never held a shovel in his life. It took courage to board a ship to the Dominican Republic, which was only accepting a few hundred Jews. The piece of land designated for the Jews, called Sosua, was terribly hot. The climate tropical. Bugs, cockroaches, tarantulas, snakes, where my parents and others had to work so hard. At least we were safe. It took courage for my parents to send their Jewish daughters, my sister and I, to a Catholic boarding school. It was the only option for an education. But we couldn't tell anyone we were Jewish. Though the Mother Superior knew it, it took courage for the Mother Superior to allow 2 Jewish refugees to attend the school without consulting the church leadership, priests and bishops and the archbishop, to keep it a secret the rest of her life. She did it alone when women didn't even have the authority to make those kinds of decisions. But she did have the courage because she knew it was the right thing to do. She stood up. She took action, knowing others would not. It took courage to pursue entry to the US and to work through a congregation of Hungarian Jews in Boston to acquire visas for us. It took courage to send us off to a Jewish summer camp upon arrival so that my parents could go to work. None of us speaking a word of English. 2 little girls sent off to summer camp without knowing a soul. It took courage to move our family around the U.S. in pursuit of job opportunities when we didn't have resources or knowledge of the American way. It took courage years later to start a business that grew to support them and the next generation of their family. And they taught me so that I grew to be courageous and survived and thrived. And now, thanks to their courage, I have a family of 3 daughters who raised 6 grandchildren. And now I have 1 great-grandchild. And my sister of blessed memory has 3 grandchildren, 2 of them now Israeli citizens. This is an overview of my survival journey to the USA. If you want to know more details, my family story is on record with the Shoah Foundation and at the Meisel Museum and on the University of Denver Judaic Studies website, Survival and Witness. I am here in an effort to let you know how important it is to have an endowed chairs in Holocaust and anti-Semitism studies at DU. Today, we have the opportunity to pass on the lessons learned from our experiences with anti-Semitism and survival, and later thriving when we've had the courage to begin again and again and again. Fortunately, as the generation of Holocaust survivors pass, the University of Denver's Center for Judaic Studies will continue to offer opportunities to learn the lessons of history so that memory persists, and so that a new generation will have the knowledge and power to prevent history from repeating. The gift to the generation of having that opportunity to study the Holocaust. Stand tall and take courage from the stories of the past, to take a leap, be flexible, have the courage to kick open the door to see what's next, to stay strong and resolute. As to anti-Semitism, we must educate future leaders to understand history so as to be able to respond with truth to how dehumanizing stereotyping any group is wrong. It is literally inhumane. They will learn autocrats and hateful rhetoric can rob a country of its history, destroy a society's decency. And most of all, they will learn that it takes courage to save freedom. Silence is the enemy. Only validates the perpetrator. Your actions, outspokenness, civility, and behavior changes the narrative.